Welcome back to Patman Garage. We are going to work on repairing the Blackwood rear glass before we reinstall it. So I bought a kit from a company called Frost Fighter, and they have a conductive paint repair process for the defroster grids, and we're going to inspect the antenna as well just to make sure we don't have any issues before we hang the glass back up. So here is the glass. I have not cleaned it yet. I did manage to get the window tint off of it without too much fanfare, but that did also come with damage to the grid. If you follow, like, this is the antenna grid here, we follow it along, you can see we got some breaks in the grid line there. So that'll be one spot we need to fix. There's some on the heater grid that are broken. And then both end caps are completely gone, so that's going to take quite a bit of repair to get those back into shape. Walk you down here to this end, and you can see we've got not only damage on the main grid, but we got some breakage going downstream as well. So I'm going to do my best to get the glass cleaned, and then we'll start inspecting, and then we'll figure out what it's going to take to actually get all this repaired. So I'm just jumping in with some commercial glass cleaner here, and we'll give this thing a good wipe down. And we'll see what we look like after that. So I did my initial wipe down, and it's really, I don't know if this is going to come up on camera or not, but there's some spots. Actually, that came out okay. There's some spots that are almost like some old adhesive that's still embedded on the glass. Let's see if I can get the light to hit that just right here. Yeah, you can kind of see the on the surface of the glass there. So we'll do a little bit of light scrubbing, hit a couple spots like that in here that I've already got up, but we'll do a little bit more glass cleaner and scrubbing, and then we'll see what the grid looks like. It might be kind of hard to get on camera here, but I'm actually using the light to kind of reflect back and forth and looking for any other spots that are still on the glass. That's actually a really good shot of the defroster grid there in the middle. Nice. But yeah, I got the glass cleanup. I'm pretty happy with that. Got a couple little spots I may come back and touch up. So my plan is probably going to experiment with one of the middle sections here that's easier to access, and I'm probably save the bigger sections for the end just to kind of get an idea how much paint I'm using. So we'll see how this goes. All right, well, I'm kind of stuck. So I read through the instructions, and it says that there's enough material in the paint can to do several grid repairs, which probably means several like half-inch sections. So I may end up needing to buy more of this at some point, or may have to do something different to do the larger repairs on the ends. It said shake vigorously for 30 seconds. It took me probably about 60 seconds before I even heard anything rattling inside the can, but like I said, the can is very small. It is a 0.16 ounce, so less than 2 ounces, or I'm sorry, less than 2/10 of an ounce of material. So it is very, very small, but we'll see what we can do with this thing. The other complication I saw in the instructions is you're supposed to operate the grid. I think based off of how much I have damaged, I don't think I could effectively operate the grid while it's drying. So I may have to break out the heat gun to help heat up the glass and help the paint cure and flow faster or flow better or whatever. But we will jump into a small section and see what this looks like. I'm going to give you this little bitty roll of masking tape, which again is kind of indicative of how little we're going to get for coverage, because that's probably only like 3 or 4 passes here around that roll. But we'll see how this goes. Okay, well, change of game plan here. I opted to try to work on fixing the FM antenna more so than the grid, just so I can try to see how this product works in a smaller overall repair. In the event that I feel like I'm running out of product or something like that, we may also just you can buy replacement grids as well. So we'll see how this goes. But FM is probably harder to fix in the sense that it's less likely to get replacement grids for it. And also the fact that in Texas, I really don't need the defroster as much as I need having a radio. So we'll see how this goes. So I did get nice and close and tight radius on my repair masking tape here, and we'll see how this paint goes down. And this is the first layer down. Probably could have used a little bit narrower brush in the cap, and it probably would have gone on with a little bit less waste. But I did not feel like I used a whole lot of product at all, to be honest with you here. It did say it wants 2 fat heavy coats, so we'll let this set up for just a minute, and then we'll come back and put a second coat down. I did have just a little bit of bleed out on the spot where I didn't have masking tape, so we'll pretend that didn't happen. Well, that's already a bummer. So it tells me to remove it while it's still wet, and I absolutely did that, and then it just peeled a bunch right back off. So what I ended up doing on this section is just use my fingernail and was dragging away from the defroster grid laterally instead of trying to lift up on it. So I'm gonna have to go back and do some additional repairs over here where we didn't get good adhesion because the tape pulled it. So that's kind of sucks, but it is what it is. And then we'll probably come back behind it with the heat gun to help get that to flow in and settle in better. All right, so we are jumping back into taking a look at the Blackwood back glass, and it has been now several weeks since I did the initial repairs on the antenna, and we'll take a look at that and see what we look like. All right, so quick first glance. Obviously, the color match is not what they claim it's going to be. You can very, very clearly tell where I have been repairing and where I hadn't been. So that being said, that one's the one that really stands out. And there's another one here. So in person, the color of the actual grid looks kind of like a soft gold color, and this has much more reddish coppery color to it, I guess. Definitely stands out. That being said, I think I'm going to skip trying to repair the defroster for now, because I have quite a bit more damage to it, and I don't think I'm going to have enough paint coverage. And in the meantime, I'm honestly really not happy with the way this looks. And in all honesty, in Texas, on a truck that is not my daily driving, even daily driver, you don't need you don't need a defroster. So I'm hesitant to spend the time to do all that repair just to never use it. Now the antenna, I do definitely want that fixed. So because I do plan to run the radio in this truck. So we should be able to get back outside and start working on making sure the cab is ready for the installation of the back glass, and we'll get out there and see what cleanup we need to do still on the cab.